updating you real time as Cody delivers those updates once things get underway. Let's bring in our guest for the hour. In San Francisco, California, is Joseph Tully, and also from Sarasota, Florida, trial attorney Alexis Rosenberg, both with us this morning. Good morning to you both. This is a case that is really, it's just filled with sorrow because this is a wonderful couple killed by their own son. The family seems to be supporting him, going out and hiring Alan Jackson. Joseph, to you first. This is no case is a slam dunk, but boy, you listen to the Los Angeles DA, everybody seems to be in agreement. He killed his parents. Where do we go from here? Why bring in a guy like Alan Jackson? What can he do for him?
Well, there's a very good possibility of a not guilty by reason of insanity plea. For many, many years, those were kind of laughed out of court or just not permitted. It just wasn't realistic. However, I'd say in the last 5 to 6 years, not guilty by reason of insanity is being seriously evaluated by judges, by prosecutors. Mental illness is becoming more understood within the criminal justice system. So I think if there is a defense, that it will be proceeding on mental health grounds, not guilty by reason of insanity.
Alexis, you agree?
I agree. I mean, the question is why bring in Alan Jackson? If you can afford him, he is a very good attorney, and you would definitely want him to be defending you. I think that there's going to be other factors that are going to come out. We have so limited information right now as to what exactly the evidence they have and all that surrounding. So we're going to be getting that information. But I do agree that reason of insanity is a very good defense possibly in this case. But remember, just because you are on drugs, that does not make you insane when you commit a crime.
Yeah. According to TMZ, and this will be a part of it, like what led up to this in the hours, and not only the years leading up to it, but then the crucial micro analysis of hours beforehand. Did something trigger? And some reporting's coming out, TMZ, saying that Nick Reiner got into this fight at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, and that Rob Reiner and his son Nick got into this argument to the point where other people were, they heard it. It was loud, and then Nick Reiner was acting strangely, going up to people asking questions, 3 bizarre questions. He'd say to A-list celebrities at this party, "What's your name? What's your last name? And are you famous?" He was also dressed in a hoodie where others were in black tie. These types of things, Joseph, will turn out to be more important as this case moves on, if indeed that's the route they're going.
Certainly. So here you want to look at, you want to be able to prove to a jury, if the case goes to a jury, that, listen, this insanity was not contrived. There's this pattern, there's this lead up of behavior leading up to this horrific, tragic event. Also, his struggles with alcohol and other addiction is well documented. And what most people aren't aware of is that there's something called dual diagnosis, where somebody who has mental health issues can also become an addict and self-medicate and get into trouble that way in terms of addiction. So I think that not only his mental health currently, but looking back now through the lens of these tragic events, I think gives more light to his addiction. Could it have been that he was suffering mental health issues all along, and that the addiction was part of that?
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear when you look at the history, 17 trips to Nick's own admission to rehab, unsuccessful, but then the parents continuing to support 32-year-old living at the guest house. There was concern about him, obviously. And they talked about it, did Rob Reiner and Nick during the promotion for Being Charlie, which Nick Reiner wrote with another co-writer, and Rob Reiner directed. Take a listen to them speaking, especially Rob saying, "I've learned a lot through this process."
It really clicked for me because we didn't bond a lot as a kid. Like, he really liked baseball, I liked basketball, and he'd go watch that with my brother, but baseball. But I just, when I saw him do that, and it was something that I'm interested in, I was like, wow, like he really knows a lot, and like it made me feel closer to him.
Well, that was Nick obviously talking about watching Rob at work and being impressed, but then Rob would also articulate that he saw things from his son's side during this massive struggle, years and years of heartbreak. Alexis, let's talk about first steps here. You're going to get arraigned today, then bond. Is bond, when you're facing double murder, is bond even on the table?
He's going to get arraigned today. We're going to assume that he's going to put in at this time probably a not guilty. And I do not think that they're going to give him bond. We've got a double murder and potentially death penalty on the table. So the bond isn't there. He's going to be incarcerated. And to get back to the insanity defense, I think that's going to be a hard sell. Mental illness in itself does not equal insanity. And if that was the case, there would be a lot of people that are in prison that would have gotten off on an insanity defense.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we see it play out all the time, or not play out. Joseph, you're in California. What is the reality of the death penalty now in the state of California in terms of pursuing it and the reality of this being a potential death penalty case?
So technically, it's still possible, but I don't think that there's a realistic possibility of. Let's assume that he goes through the trial process and he's convicted, and the jury then voted for death. That then he would be put to death. I'd say that's a 0% at this point.
Do you think, though, Joseph, that you've got a DA now elected, Hochman, who sort of was the antithesis of Gascon, who was the previous DA, also, of course, in San Francisco, too. You know him. You're talking about a right-winger in control. Could this get political because of all the eyeballs? And it seems like anytime something can get political, it does.
So it is political now. I don't think we have to think about it. Will it get political? It is political. This is a high-profile case. They do not want the perception that LA is weak on this type of very serious offense. They don't want a joke, a punchline to go around about, yeah, you could kill your parents, and if you're rich enough and hire a really good lawyer, you could get off. The DA's office, and I think the judiciary will do everything they can to try to dispel that. So I think that it will be a tough road for the defense. I do think that there are legitimate mental health and not guilty by reason of insanity defense here. I think we will see that play out. But this is political, and I think you'll see the DA's office for that reason fighting very hard to convict and go for the maximum here.
Your thoughts, Alexis?
I agree with Joseph, and I also agree that ultimately that he's probably not going to be sentenced to death. And because we also have the issues that there's no doubt that there was mental health and addiction issues. Really, the question is, does it raise to the level of insanity? But when you go down to sentencing, one of the things at the death penalty stage they take into consideration is things such as mental health issues and all of that. So I agree with Joseph. Even if he is convicted of the double murder, I don't believe that he's going to be ultimately sentenced to death, and definitely would not actually be executed.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't feel like, as a society, we're like, oh, we should totally kill this kid. It's because of what we know the tip of the iceberg, I'm sure, of his history, and it just doesn't seem right. But you never know. As we move on towards as the wheels of justice turn slowly, we'll see. Again, the latest out of that courthouse from our team on the ground there is the judge has ruled no live streaming of the arraignment, so we won't be able to watch it live. We still don't know if it will be recorded and we could maybe watch it later. Every judge has different rules, but our team, and specifically our Cody Thomas, will be in the courtroom, and he will be updating us as soon as that ends up in Los Angeles, that initial court appearance for Nick Reiner. Let's get a break. When we come back,